Board Games with Niramas. I'm Joseph and I'm here today, as usual, with Draco. From here on the side, he's helping me make the decisions for which cards to choose, of course, for KeyForge, because it's time for another one of these top 10 for KeyForge. It's time for Shadows. And wow, this was hard. This was really hard. So many good cards for Shadows, and how do you rate them? How do you which one beats which one? It's really hard. It's really hard to choose. So if you don't agree, have some patience with me. Understand that this is really hard. But tell me in the comment section as well. If you don't agree, tell me which cards I should have had here instead. Let's get going with the top 10. And yeah, let's start with number 10. So number 10 for me, for Shadows, is Booby Trap, which is an action card that gives you an amber. It's play, deal 4 damage to a creature that is not on the flank, and then 2 splash. So you will do 4 and then 2 and then 2. I really like these direct damage cards. They can really mess up your opponent. And this one, well, yeah, this is not as good as the one for Brobnar. That's basically the same thing, but this one requires the creature to not be on a flank. Then again, to get maximum effect out of it, you want to do it to someone that is not on the flank anyway, because then he has 2 neighbors that can get the splash damage. So yeah, Booby Trap, a really good card for direct damage, and that's my number 10 for Shadows. And number 9, another action card that deals direct damage, but this one gives you an amber, and it also, well, it does 2 damage to a creature, and if it destroys that creature, you also steal 1 amber, which is awesome. So you target something small, some Ember Imp or Restringantus or whatever that you want to get rid of, and when you kill it, you also get to steal 1 amber. So Relentless Whispers is a good one, and it's a common one, at least for me. I've seen this in a bunch of decks, so it's nice to have there for some, sniping, basically. That's what you're doing. You want to snipe out one of those small guys that have a nasty ability. And then if you kill it, well, you want to make sure that you do destroy it, then you also get 1 to steal. So that's my number 9, Relentless Whispers. And for my number 8, this is a guy, Shadow Self, a creature with 9 power. I kind of wanted to put him higher up on the list, but the thing is he does no damage when fighting, so that's the downside. The fun thing with him, he's really special. He will soak up damage from his neighbors. He doesn't have taunts. You can attack his neighbors, but they're not going to take any damage until he dies. Shadow Self is going to soak them up, unless they are specters, the neighbors. But from what I understand, if I recall correctly, he's the only specter in the game right now. Might change, of course, as new cards will be released in the future. But Shadow Self is a really good way to defend those small creatures. Well, to defend anyone, basically. Really like to have this one in my Shadows options in the deck, to put him out to protect some other stuff. And I might even, I might put him out and then plan that the next turn I'm going to put out some creature next to him that he will defend. So yeah, Shadow Self, really good one. That's my number 8. And for number 7, it's something totally different. We have an action card, Too Much to Protect. Gives you an amber, and it steals all but 6 of your opponent's amber. Well, all but 6, which means he can still make a key, right? Yeah, but all but 6, that could be a lot. If your opponent has built up, had a good turn, getting a lot of amber, then you get Too Much to Protect in there, and then you just, you can just steal a bunch. So yeah, it's a good card in that way that it doesn't have an upper limit to how much it steals. It still leaves him with 6, so you want to maybe, after you play this, you want to do something else, some other little steals to just get him down to 5, right? But it's a good one, Too Much to Protect. That's my number 7. And for number 6, it's an artifact called Master Plan. Gives you an amber when you play it, and this is a bit special, it's a bit complex, but first of all, when you play it, you take another card from your hand and put it face down beneath Master Plan. So it's out there on the board. Then it has the Omni ability that you can play the card that you put beneath it as Omni, and then you sacrifice Master Plan. And this is so good, because this means that you can put something like, I don't know, Library Access or something under there. And then later on, while you play Logos, or you play anything, you can do the Omni effect of playing. When you're not playing Logos, that's the thing. You're not playing Logos, you pick up that card, you play Library Access out of turn, sort of, or out of house. That means that all of a sudden, all those Brobnar cards that you have in hand, you can play those and get the effect of Library Access. Just as an example, there's a lot of ways, there are a lot of combos that would not be able to exist in the game normally, but Master Plan makes it so they... And this can lead to some really super combos out there. There's some ways that I even haven't tried or so on yet. Of course, there's a lot to learn in this game. I haven't figured everything out, which is fun. I like the exploration of discovering combos as I go. So yeah, Master Plan makes a lot of interesting stuff happen in KeyForge, so that's why it's my number 6. And for number 5, another bit special one, the Sting, an artifact that gives you an amber when you play it. And first of all, it has a passive ability of skip your forge key step, which means that your turn doesn't have a forge key step, so you're not going to forge a key as long as this is out. But you get all the amber that your opponent spend on forging keys. So you're sitting there, you're not forging keys, you're just soaking up all those amber from your opponent, and you hope that he doesn't have a good steal card like, the one we talked about earlier here. Wow, that would be nasty. And then as an action, you can sacrifice the Sting, this card. So when you feel ready for it, then you sacrifice to get rid of it. And that means that you can start making keys with all that amber that you have collected, right? So yeah, it's a bit special one. Some usage for this. It's quite interesting. I played against people that use this. And yeah, that's interesting, especially if you get stuff like the Lash of Broken Dreams. If then your opponent has to pay 9 amber to forge a key, and you get all those 9 amber. There's so much interesting combos here with the Sting, so that's why it's my number 5. And for number 4, we have a creature called Mack the Knife. He only has 3 power, but he's elusive, so he can survive a bit on that. And then you can use him as if he belonged to any house. He's Omni, basically, which is really nice. And when you use him, you want to do the action, which is to deal 1 damage to a creature. And if that damage destroys that creature, you get 1 amber from the bank. And he's sort of like the artifact, the Seeker Needle. I did not put that in top 10. It's basically number 11 or something. It was really hard to not have it in there because I really like that one, especially if you have 2 of those. But Mack the Knife is the same thing, but he's a creature, so he can reap as well, and so on. And you can use him. That's the best thing with him, that you can use him all the time, no matter which house you choose. So as long as he stays alive, you can maybe you want to put him next to Shadow Self, for example, so he will stay alive a bit longer. And then you play other houses for a while. You're not playing Shadows, but you can still use him, do that 1 damage, and that if it kills the creature, you get an amber. I mean, just imagine that you're playing maybe a Dis as an active house, and you're doing some stuff that makes direct damage, or you're fighting or whatever, and then you just make sure that there's 1 health left on that creature you're fighting, and then you do Mack the Knife. Really cool guy, I really like him, and that's why he's my number 4 for Shadows. And number 3 for Shadows cards is the action card Miasma. It gives you an amber when you play it, and it's really simple. All it does is your opponent skips the next forge a key step. So even if your opponent has those amber required to forge a key, he's not going to do it on his turn. You skip it 1 time. I mean, it's so simple, but it's so powerful. You can really stop your opponent this way. A lot of times there's balance in the game where maybe both have 2 keys and it's just back and forth, and maybe that's just, that's what's needed. You need a Miasma in there to just be the one to force that 3rd key, the first, and win the game. Miasma is such a good card. I always want to have this in my shadows, among my shadow cards in my deck. Love this one, that's why it's my number 3. And number 2 for Shadows is the creature Snecklifter. He's only a 2 in power, but yeah, he has such a cool play effect. When you play him, you take control of an enemy artifact, and while under your control, it does not belong to one of the 3 houses that you have. It's considered, if it does not belong to one of your 3 houses already, then it's considered to be of House Shadows, which means that if you take over a Sanctum artifact and you don't have Sanctum on your side, then it's gonna be considered Shadows, so you can activate it when you play Shadows. And wow, I mean, this is, you take control over it, and as long as your opponent can't destroy the artifact, then you have it for the rest of the game. I have a deck with 2 of these in it. That's maybe why I like it so much, because then I played it and I took over 2 of Matt's artifacts that he really liked, and he was almost rage quitting. He was so frustrated. He was like, that can't be true. How can you be able to do that? But yeah, that's how it works. Really cool stuff. Snake Lifter, my number 2. And number 1, maybe a bit boring because this is everybody's favorite card, right? In Shadows. But yeah, Bait and Switch. It's an action card. What it does is, if your opponent has more amber than you start stealing from him. You steal 1, and then if he still has more than you, well, you steal 1, and then you keep going. So basically, it just levels it out. And I mean, if you get the chance to play this one when you're sitting with 1 amber and your opponent has, 11 or something, that's just so fun. It's just so fun to just, it's so devastating for your opponent. Not that he or she just loses the amber, but you get it. So yeah, Bait and Switch, just an awesome card. From what I understand, I'm not sure if this is correct, but from what I read and heard, you can only get 1 of these in a deck, which I think is, that it should be that way. It's just so powerful. And especially this one, together with some other cards, once again, Lash of Broken Dreams or other cards that sort of makes your opponent stack up more amber than 6. And then you do the Bait and Switch. Yeah, that's so good. Such a good card. So that is my number 1 for Shadows. And, well, we only have 1 house left, right, to go. We have Untamed. So that's coming in a few days, and I hope that you enjoy these lists. Please tell me in the comment section if you have any opinions about the content of these lists or so on. And also let me know if you like it by pressing the like button as well, so I know that I should continue doing this type of videos, because I find it really fun to do this type of videos. I hope that you do as well to watch them. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening or morning, or whenever you're watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
Be like Draco. Follow Board Games with Niramas on Facebook at BGW Niramas. Board Games with Niramas is sponsored by Alara Games in Sweden.